Hey up. It's been about 2 months and I now have green hair algae, which I had never had. I've been very slack with water changes, which I guess will be why I have green hair algae. I'm probably overfeeding because of my Mandarin Dragonet. I like it to get plenty of mysis and brine, so I tend to... Anyway, I don't want my fish to starve. All my fish are healthy. I've had no fatalities. The Bangai's become sort of quite aggressive. It keeps looking at its own reflection. Started that about 2 weeks ago and has continued constantly looking at itself in the reflection, but it's very healthy, as are... oh, we've got bubble algae as well. I don't mind the bubble algae. I know everybody hates it, but to me it doesn't matter that much. It doesn't inhibit coral growth, whereas the green hair algae can grow on your zoas, which it does with some of my zoas. This bird's nest, or Seriatopora, is it? When I first got it, it had good polyp extension, but as you can see, the polyp extension is small and has been for a long time now. I don't know why. My phosphates are 0 with Salifert. My nitrates are 0.2, so they're very low. My nitrates were about 2, and my phosphates had been about 0.06, but the green hair algae must be consuming that. I've got good growth with... it's quite interesting actually for anybody that's a beginner that wants to get plating Montipora. I mean, this guy will survive anything. Just dodgy stability, low light. I mean, the light is miles away. I've got one Kessel, which is over this tank, and this is miles away from that light. Must have a power of about 50, and yet it grows. So it's this darker red, and then you've got these guys growing with a nice lighter red, orange, red, something like that. My cat's paw's doing really well actually, and particularly now that my nitrates and phosphates are low because of the green hair algae. You can see the white tips. I was not getting the white tips, and that's because my phosphates were up. But now, thanks to the green hair algae, I'm getting good growth. It's always been... there was a moment where, a few days, where the polyps were retracted, and I thought, oh god, I'm really suffering now, my tank's suffering. But anyway, it's bounced back. My green star polyps, again, I mean, these guys grow well, and the light there is just horrific in that corner. I mean, it must be 30, well, I don't know what par it is, but it's blooming low. Anyway, look at this Bangai. He's nuts. He's absolutely nuts. I've got 2 peppermint shrimp. Now, I don't know what species they are, but they destroyed my flatworms. I had the red planaria, is it? Flatworms. And I had hundreds of them, hundreds. And when I bought the Dragonet, the guy said, oh yeah, the planaria. I never saw it touch the planaria, but I'm pretty sure the peppermint shrimp decimated the flat. I've got no red planaria, not one, never seen one. They've also got rid of my Aiptasia. I did see, I've not seen Aiptasia now for 4 weeks. I did see the odd one, but definitely not now. Now my acros have suffered badly. This one is still plodding on actually. It's look horrendous, isn't it? I mean, I've read that the barley slimer isn't the easiest to grow, and of course I'm failing miserably growing it. Although it is surviving, and the reason I know it's still surviving, there's a bit of coloration, and also my yellow clown goby always nips at the polyps. So there's a tiny little bit left that is surviving. You've got the digitata, this one here, and that's growing fine as usual, and that's where I snapped some off. That's growing. I've got my usual Zoa problems. These are probably too low down in the light. Everything needs to be higher up. My light is raised quite high because I want it to cover the whole tank. There's my dragon eyes. They're suffering a bit because of the green hair algae. Where they're growing, where they've got enough light, you can see they're out competing the algae. But where lower down, they're obviously not out competing the algae. So, you know, stuff that's high up seems to be doing okay. I've got this one has been doing all right. I don't know what it's called. Tricolor acro. It must be one of the easier ones to grow. I did have good polyp extension a couple of weeks ago actually, with nitrates and phosphates up, but now the nitrates and phosphates have been reduced because of the algae. The polyp extension is not as good. This guy always, it's a beauty actually. When I first got it, I did not like it at all. I don't know what it is. If anybody knows what it is, please let me know. It's beautiful. Like that bit sticking up in the middle there is like yellow, is it? I love that colour. In fact, it's a really nice colour all round, and this always has good polyp extension. What else can I show you? My dragonet is superb. Love this guy. He's still thriving, and yeah, my pod population's all right. I think I've never had to add any, but that's because I add this phytoplankton every day. Sechem phytoplankton. It's probably why I've got high phosphates as well. But I've got this Chaetomorpha in the corner here as like a sort of mini refugium, which if you've been watching me before, you know that's what I do. I've got this fuzzy mushroom. The fuzzy mushrooms are doing well. They always look good. I mean, this guy's huge. He's in really low light. This guy to the left, you can see the other fuzzy mushroom has got a big chunk taken out, and I think he got stung by the pulsing xenia quite a while back actually, and I thought, oh, I'll just leave him to it, but I took it, eventually I thought, no, take it away from the mushroom, and I think the mushroom has suffered since. I think it's carried on dying back. It's either dying back there because of the flow, doesn't like the flow. Yeah, my trochus snails, I had a load of about 120 at one point, and gradually they sort of, the baby ones can't reinvert themselves, you know, when they go upside down, they can't make themselves the right way up. So they died. Also, I think I've got a polyclad flatworm. Stupidly, it was in the rear sump on one of the media bags, and I thought, oh wow, look at that. Like we always do when, you know, newbies see pests, we think, God, this looks great. And then I thought, oh well, I'll keep it, it looks great, you know, it could be something rare, and they're never bloody rare. They're always a pest. And I put it back, and I think that is slowly but surely killing my snails. Yellow clown goby, he's great, he's really good. Sometimes I don't notice him, but he is good entertainment. I finally got some mechanical, well, you can't see, finally got some mechanical filtration there, which I haven't had at all for 3 months. I've not been using any, and I finally decided, no, enough is enough, time to put some mechanical filtration in the back. So let's have a shot from the top. So these Zoas, as usual, they're the bane of my life, these Zoas. They're sort of so-so, they're okay. Still on their frags. Yep, blah blah blah. So what am I reading? Yeah, I've got this staghorn as well. This guy's hanging on for dear life. Polyp extension is just about there, only just. Okay, let's have a look. There, have a look at my bubble algae in all its glory. Okay, these guys, because because the pump's off, they think food's coming, but it ain't coming, so tough. Yeah, my parameters, what else? My pH is really good actually. It's at 8.2, and probably fluctuates, but I can't really tell. So it's always about 8.2. I'm bubbling in air from my hallway into my rear sump, and that seems to have kept my pH nice and high. Anything else? Calcium. My DKH has been pretty stable at about 8 to 8.5. Calcium actually has taken a bit of a hit recently. It was at about 440, 450, and I think with when you see white tips on something like this cat's paw, you better start testing your calcium, because you can guarantee that your calcium is dropping. I mean, your calcium's always dropping, but it'll really drop. So my calcium was at about 440, 450, and it's dropped to about 400, so I'm just building that back up. My magnesium is about, I don't know, 1300. It was rock solid actually for quite a long time, and it's just suddenly not rock solid again, probably due to some growth with these SPS. So am I happy? I would. You know what it's like. I have been happy actually up until about a week ago, and then the green hair algae has really taken hold, and it's got to me, especially when it starts destroying your zoas. What am I going to do about my green hair algae? Well, the plan is to get another tank, which is to my right, which has been there for ages. It's a 29 gallon, and I'm going to bridge I've been talking about it for ages, but the plan is to bridge the tank and have that as a refugium. So I'll put my Chaetomorpha in there, and yeah, and that would be the way to, and therefore compete with this algae in the display tank. Oh yeah, that's another one actually. This is another SPS that went pretty bleached. You probably I'm not sure you can see it. It's stripped actually. It's stripped. Its skin came off. What do they call it? Rapid tissue necrosis. But you can see some of it has remained, and in fact there's some sort of yellow polyps there, which there never has been. So it's like it's changed its format. Okay. Any other stuff? What else is there I can tell you? Yeah, that's it, guys.